Hello, everyone. This is Daniel Fosco. I'm the senior product designer on the release group, and I'm here with Chris Balane, who's our senior product manager for the release group as well. This is the release product and UX weekly. Today, we'll go over a walkthrough of all the new updates for the environments page that we have in production and a few other updates in our upcoming UX work. So I'll start by sharing my screen. Chris, let me know once you can see it.
Good.
Here's our agenda. So yeah, let's start with the good stuff, right? We finally managed to merge all the changes to the environments page and really managed to nail what we wanted to, at least in my opinion, as the designer, in terms of how we wanted this page to look like. So I'll show you the before and after, but essentially right now we have folders that expand into environments, and then if the environments have deployments, the two latest deployments show whatever the status they have. It shows what was the latest deployed. It shows you the deployment ID, the commit ID that you can also copy, how long it happened, the latest commit in the deployment with a link to it, and you can also see some additional details here, like the job. This one came from the API, so that's why it says that. But who triggered it, the job, and the branch or tag behind that deployment. So yeah, what are your thoughts, Chris? Does it meet your expectations, what you had in mind?
Yeah, it definitely does. It looks really good. We've solved a lot of the problems, as Daniel pointed out, that I think we had with the old version. Sort of just layout, information being cut off, all the key pieces of information that a platform engineer or even a release engineer might want to look at a glance in terms of what's been deployed to their environments. So yeah, really excited about this. Thank you, Daniel, for really being the one to drive this one. Because a lot of it was really the UI and user experience and kind of the information that's contained here. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks for saying that. I'm really happy how our research efforts to really understand what were the key problems on the page resulted in this. And this is just the first iteration, but the idea here was really to make sure that the page could be scalable, both in terms of how much information it can hold. So we could render 10 deployments here, like the 10 latest instead of the 2 latest if we wanted to, right? Just as we can add more pieces of information, these details, something that we couldn't with the previous version on the table. I'll show that here. Yeah, it's not scrolling, but yeah, so this was the previous version that we had, right, with the table. And you can see that there were most of the pieces of information were here as well. So you had the commit name, the commit ID, the branch, the job, but most of it was clipped. You had some problems and you just couldn't add more stuff to it, right? Because everything was crunched together in one table row. So we're happy that we can keep expanding this, just keep improving this on the next iterations. And it's nice that we already got customer feedback to do one quick iteration. So that is my next point, Chris, unless you have any last comments here.
No, that's great. I think this is a great first MVC or first version and iteration of this. And then yeah, looking forward to the feedback, looking forward to having our delivery team maybe start to use this and also give us some feedback, which would be great. And iterating. No, so
yeah.
that's
And yeah, one last thing that is a little bit of a design flex, but I'm super happy that we took the effort to make this responsive. So, you know, no matter how small your screen is, and some users have like 11-inch desktops. So this is pretty much a reality that is needed for some of them. It really collapses everything into a way that it's still readable and still usable. So I'm happy that me and Andrew, the front-end engineer that developed this, really worked on the details to nail the smaller screens as well. So happy about that. But yeah, let me close this one. So the feedback that we got from a customer was that the new design looks good and better than the old one, but it removed the ability to view the status of all environments all at once, right? And that was somewhat expected from us, and you can clearly see here, if I open up a bunch of things and then refresh the page, I come back to a page where everything is collapsed, right? So they left that suggestion. I left a proposal to add a drop down on the top of the tab with a few check boxes: keep folders open, keep environments open, or keep environment details open. And so you can mix and match whichever ones you prefer. This could be saved either in a backend flag or in a browser cookie, but essentially what it should do is once you reload the page, it will keep the UI state consistent, right? So if you opened, like all environments will be open if you chose them to be open, all details will be open if you chose them to be open as well. So if you prefer to just not having to open folders and all of that, you would be able to do that. So that's a first. I added next step label so you can pick it up on further milestones.
Yeah, I'm just reading the feedback. Thank you, Daniel, for picking up on that on the customer's comment. That's excellent. And I appreciate the quick feedback also from that customer. So thank you.
Yeah.
And sounds good. Yeah, I wonder. You need to expand all environments to see the status, right? Right. I think it sounds like the pain point is needing to expand it,
Yeah.
either every single time or maybe on load. So we'll, yeah, sounds good.
There is I had this problem in mind as I was designed, so I expected to get this feedback, and I had a different approach in mind before that maybe it's not worth the effort in terms of engineering, but essentially every time you expanded any folder or any environment, that specifically folder or environment would be saved into a cookie, right? So if I open this specific environment and refresh the page, when I come back, this specific environment will be expanded. That would be more engineering work to implement, to be honest. But it has the upside that it wouldn't have any configuration required by the user. It just remembers exactly what they did the last time they were on the page, which it might not be what they want as well, right? Like they don't necessarily want to see this environment every time they go into the page. But I think those are details that can be discussed further down the line on the issue. I think I wrote a comment on that aspect to Andrew as well, so he'll be able to chime in.
Yeah, and it looks like another user chimed in, happy with having the environments open by default, folders collapse. Okay, great, cool. Sounds good, Daniel. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. That's it for this one. And then for other stuff that moved forward a little bit, I adjusted our deployment block UI to the environment detail page. So we can quickly go over here. This is the current design and production of the environment detail page. It's not as problematic as the main environments page. Everything on the table is really readable except for these items, these actions here. The icons are very confusing. Like these are different icons. A lot of people don't see that. We've received that feedback before. And this deploy to button is not very clear either. So yeah, the idea here for the MVC, at least, is essentially to implement the deployment blocks here. So it looks pretty much the same as the environments page. The only difference is there's no nesting because there are no folders here. It's just a flat list of deployments, and then expand the buttons that we had on the original one. So add the labels to it. And that's it, right? Like this is just expanding the button labels to make them a little bit more clear. I still think this copy is not very clear for all of the buttons.
Sure.
And then in that sense, I have this is a responsive one. And then an idea for our next iteration, right, is to rework both the icons and the copy here, essentially to redo this deploy. This is the latest deployment, So the action is all the same, right? It's just get this deploy and run it again. But in this case, since it's the latest one, I call it redo this deploy. For all the previous ones, roll back to this deploy, right? So roll back this current environment to this current deploy that you're looking at. And then this move down, it should be up here. This other button is tricky because they're all do pretty much the same thing, but it is also a deployment button, but is deployed to any other environment outside of this one.
I see.
There was a, where is it? Yeah, a tooltip here. So the tooltip for the button would also say deploy to a different environment. Hopefully that will be enough to make it clearer, but maybe we can iterate it into something different. I would appreciate Rusho's input on this one for the copy, because it is possible that we could just rethink even the actions themselves. Maybe they could all have the same name. I don't know. Maybe they could all be called rerun this deployment, although rollback is a really strong word that people associate with returning their environments to a previous state. So I would prefer to use it, but yeah, depends on the final solution we get to.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I think you had asked on this one. Right? Is that clear?
You answered that question. You answered the question. Yeah, now it makes sense. I didn't pick up on that deploy to another environment. Do we have that functionality today?
We do. Yeah, we do.
Okay. I didn't realize that. Thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, the design is broken. I have to move this up. I think that confused you a little bit as well. Yeah, and then the last change I made, this was after our latest talk, I think, was update the dynamically populated environments page on the group level. So this is the empty state. Yeah, as we speak, I removed the product folders that were grouping them. Since this is a high level overview, we're assuming that specifically users don't want to look at project level, otherwise they would be on the projects. So we're no longer grouping by project here. It's just a flat list of deployments for all production tier environments in this group, like in the example is GitLab.org. You still have project information, so you can see the project, perhaps even like if there's another group in between, you can see the group and the project. But yeah, you can see the project here and which environment it went to. And this is kind of like a silly example because they all have the same name, but yeah, this is the environment name. It's named main. It could have any other name. And then the tier is here as production.
Right.
Does that make sense to you?
It does, because it could be like back-end production and front-end or something, even something else, right? Like here, or environment A, right? Yeah, okay. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, no, thank you for making this update. This, I think this makes a lot more sense sort of from the user standpoint. I think this looks great. Yeah, I'm excited to push this forward as well.
Oh yeah, and there's an ordering drop down here that I think first this by definition is supposed to be a large list because it aggregates deployments for all projects in the group.
Right.
So I think it definitely has to go out with some sort of ordering. I'm not sure if these are the right parameters, but some parameters would be good. Eventually having like this is the right setup to add just a bunch of filters to let people really narrow down the list to whatever they want to look at. But just a quick way to reorder the list, I think is important just for the MVC.
I think that's good. Yep. Cool.
All right. So I think the last thing we had after this was upcoming work, right? So I added the 49 planning issue here.
Oh, sorry, Dan, 1 second. Sorry, I wonder one thought, and I'm sure this was probably what you thought of already, but in the dynamically populated org level view, okay. I see the approval options. Yeah, that's great. I'm sure we'll want to incorporate that at some point too.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
I think it makes sense for it to be here as well. I don't know if it makes sense for the MVC, but definitely should be here at some point, especially because this is one of, like, we've seen this in customer calls, right? People setting up all
Yeah.
kinds of workarounds to have the centralized approval place. So I think it makes a lot of sense here.
Sounds good.
Cool. And yeah, in terms of upcoming work for this milestone, this first one is this environment detail. I would say aside from feedbacks, it's pretty much closed. And then yeah, the one I consider the big one outside of that is the connection between releases and environments, right? It's just breaking down this issue and start exploring specifically how can we show environment information in releases, how can we show releases information in environments, and how to better integrate them together.
Yes.
That is at least what I think it's most exciting for this milestone. The rest is still exciting in the sense that it's improving things in the stuff that we're working on with environments and deployments, and there is some overlap between this copy change and some of these issues, right? So this one is about poor wording for redeploying environments.
Right.
Also on the confirmation model that comes up when you submit that. So I think this is already pointing in the right direction for this issue, but it has to be looked at in more detail. It's not a perfect fix.
Okay.
And yeah, outside of that, there's this little issue on environments showing as stopped, even though the stopping operation fails. So I think it's more of a front end and a little bit of back end communication to make sure that UI reflects the back end state. And yeah, there's some discussion here that we scheduled as well for the skip outdated deployment jobs. I think this is an important one.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Anything else that you had in mind that you wanted to go over?
No. And I think we're right at time as well. So no, thank you. Thanks, Daniel. Yep. It's great progress. Thank you for getting those that deployments page, making those updates and catching that customer feedback so quickly. So that's yeah, that's great. It makes me think, I wonder if I should have or I should make a feedback issue for the environment pages redesign. So something else.
I think it would be good. Yeah, I think it would be a magnet to attract more specific feedback like this, and then maybe we can aggregate the work into larger issues. Yeah, that's a good.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that. Cool.
All right. Thanks for the chat, Chris. And yeah, have a great day.
You too, Daniel.